Hi, I'm Chad with Move for a Guitar. This lesson is from our series Guitar Chords for Beginners. In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to play an open A7 chord. Here's an open A7 chord. And this is a really useful chord to learn as a beginner. I don't recommend learning it as one of the first chords because I think there's other chords that you can use in more playing situations right away as a beginner. But a lot of teachers do teach this right away, so it's up to you whether you want to learn it early on. It's just the A7 is harder to play with more chords because the other chords that go along with it can be more difficult to play. So I like to teach the chords in the key of G and C first and then move on to the other keys. But if you want to learn it, you can learn it whenever you want. And if you look in the description, there's links to the chords that I think you should learn first. But like I said, if you want to learn it early on, go ahead. A lot of teachers do teach it pretty early on. And this chord, the A7, if you're talking about the major scale keys, is only in the key of D. It only fits within that key. And really, it's a type of chord where if you play it, it sounds like it wants to resolve to that D. So you can hear that movement. It doesn't really sound like it's resting on its own. Although if you learn the blues early on, it's a chord that you'll use a lot and you don't have to play it in the key of D. In the blues it's different. You're not playing in just one key. So if you want to learn the blues early on, it is a really useful chord. And in the blues, you don't necessarily rest this chord back to the D. It's not really how the blues works. So there's a few ways to play this. First way is the way I'm holding it, which is your second finger on the 4th string 2nd fret, and then your 3rd finger on the 2nd string 2nd fret. And then the open strings would be the 5th string, the 3rd string, and the 1st string. So you're fretting 2 notes, those strings are all open, and then you mute out the 6th string with your thumb if you can. If you can't reach up and do that, you just have to avoid it when you're strumming. Although if you hit it a little bit, it's all right because that note actually is in the chord. It's just if you leave that low E, it's going to get pretty muddy if you just strum away. So it's better to try and avoid it or mute it out. So that's the first way. The next way is just to replace your 2nd and 3rd fingers with your 1st and 2nd fingers like that. It's another common way to play it. Or you could, instead of doing that, replace your 2nd finger with your 3rd finger. So you could play it like this. And that's a really useful way to do it if you're going from an open A major to this A7. So the way you finger it's going to depend on the playing situation and the chords before and after it. And it's best to learn whatever feels most comfortable at first, and then you're going to have to learn multiple ways so that your transitions are smooth while you're playing. And with this chord, you're really going to have to be on the tips of your fingers with the notes that you're fretting to avoid these open strings. And that's going to be the hardest part about playing this chord at first, is that you really have to be on the tips of your fingers and not mute out any of those open strings. So that's an open A7 chord.